Good morning. Welcome back to Morning at 10 TV. My name is Mala Kivila Odera, and Uganda today joined the world in marking the World Day Against Trafficking in Persons. And I'll bring you up to speed with the statistics. And the International Labour Organization estimates that over 21 million people are victims of forced labor globally. And this includes human trafficking for forced labor and sexual exploitation. And still, according to the UN Office on Drugs and Crime Global Report on Trafficking in Persons, children make up almost a third of human trafficking victims worldwide. Now, we'll get that conversation to us in Uganda, what this means and where we are at. And in studios, joining me is Mr. Binoga Moses, who is the Commissioner of Police. He's also the Coordinator, Prevention of Trafficking in Persons, Ministry of Internal Affairs. Thank you so much for making time for us.
Yes, thank you.
Those are the statistics globally. How is it back home here in Uganda? What are we seeing? What's the trend?
The trend in Uganda is that we have also incidents of trafficking, both in children and in adults, and domestically it is affecting more children. We've been having children trafficked for labor exploitation, for sexual exploitation. Some children have been trafficked for use in criminal activities, which involves mostly in some to be used in petty crimes, and then also to be used to be indoctrinated with the radical Islamic ideas, so that they can be used later on in terrorist activities. And then we also have some children who have been trafficked for purposes of just illicit acquisition of wealth. Some individuals claim they have homes, children's homes, and that they can assist people with the free school fees, children who are needy, and then they use these children to get donations from up country to enrich themselves without caring about the children whom they are using in that. So then we have also got some children who have been kidnapped for purposes of sacrifice, where they have been killed and their body parts are used in witchcraft. So that is the situation. Transnationally, we also have few children who have been trafficked through illicit adoption. Some foreigners come with money, connive with some lawyers, and they confuse the parents who are in the needy families, that they are going to assist their children, and they pay them money, pay them some inducements. Then they deceive them that they are actually not adopting their children, but they are simply taking them for assistance, and they take them away.
Right.
And we of course, these children, there is a suspicion that where they are being taken, they are being misused, and of course there is no yet proper track down on them. So that is the situation which is happening internally here. But transnationally, we have got very many youths. We've got very many youths who have been trafficked mostly from Uganda to other foreign countries. Mostly it has been women, young ladies in the age of 19 to 35. But we also have some men of the same age who have been also trafficked, and mostly it has been they have been taken to the Middle East. Some of them have been taken to South Africa. Some of them have been taken to even neighboring Kenya.
Right.
And some of them have been taken to DRC. They are promised jobs, and when they reach there, they find that the jobs they have been promised are not there, or the jobs are there but the conditions are too hard, and it is not easy for them to withdraw their service after finding that the working condition is not conducive. So they are forced. They end up being subjects of forced labor. Yeah. Some of especially the ladies, have been made to do forced prostitution in those countries where they are, and yet they had told them they were going to work in restaurants. And we've got a feeling like there could be some who are going stealthily in that same racket, who could be maybe they are being killed and their body parts removed and taken for transplant, something of that sort.
Yeah.
So those are the categories. And most for the transnational, in the recent 1-2 years, the trend has been that most of them are living through neighboring Kenya, through the porous borders. Actually, they are not passing through the normal policy, but they pass through the porous borders.
Right.
Some of them are made to pass through the airport, but when in Entebbe airport, when they are coached to tell lies to the immigration officer there to pretend like they are going for normal visit or tourism, and then when they reach there, they are taken to those sort of situations. So that is what is happening. Last year, we registered, I think, because we can only talk of the cases which have been reported.
Yes.
And according to last year's statistics, I think we had about 275 cases of registered victims of transnational trafficking. And internally, we had about 120. Of course, as I've said, most of them were children who were trafficked, yes.
All right. But clearly that paints a picture that the traffickers have seen a potential in this particular space, and they're actually earning a lot of money from this. So what has the government done to ensure that they actually crack this particular, kind of cartel? Because I'm thinking it's a cartel whereby they go to the rural areas, brainwash the families, the parents who, are in dire poverty, and they bring them on. So what has the government done to make sure that they mitigate this and actually apprehend the traffickers?
Of course, the approach has been done through, actually, as you have said, actually, we've been handling it through, we commonly call it 3 Ps, and actually 4 Ps. Ps standing, first P stands for prevention, another one stands for prostitution, then protection, and partnership. So the government has mobilized all stakeholders. We've been mobilized under a syndicated system coordinated by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, and we work together. We have come up with standard ways of handling issues, and this syndicate involves government agencies and non-government organizations, plus international agencies like International Organization for Migration. So we work together and to try to handle the problem. We have also come up with the awareness messages. Actually, we've been using the media. We've been reaching out to some groups. We've been reaching out to targeted groups. Like previously we've been seeing some of these NGOs like Dwelling Places and others like Rahab. They have been going to the communities to supplement on what the police community liaison officers are doing and the child and family protection officers are doing to talk to the public to understand the tricks of some of these criminal-minded people, and that they shouldn't allow their children to be given away. So one of the strategies is awareness. We are trying to tell people there is a challenge, there is a monster, there is an evil called human trafficking. Don't allow your child to be given away like that, especially for the children, that when someone comes and wants to help a child, subject that person to be investigated by the authorities, the intelligence, the DSOs, the police in the area, before you hand over the child. And then for adults, when you are someone coming for recruitment of jobs, first of all, inquire, because there is a process, a procedure. Government come up with a policy of regulating export of labor, because labor migration was noted as one of the challenges which was causing the trafficking of youths outside countries. And they came up with a policy of licensing recruitment companies, private recruitment companies. So before someone goes to look for a job, we are telling them to seek for advice, to find out whether the company you are using or the individual you're using is a genuine one, is a licensed person. And then there you will go safely. And then in the case of challenges, the same organization will be able to help you to come back and even compensate you in the case of anything. So awareness, we're enhancing that awareness. We're also carrying out interceptions of potential victims through all our exit points and the Entebbe airport.
Okay.
The immigration and the security officers in those areas are working together to detect any potential victim of trafficking, and then they will intercept and stop someone from going, and instead guide that person to go in an organized way.
How are they able to detect? Because, for example, if someone, especially adults who are taken out of the country for jobs, most of them are even helped to get passports, visas to travel. So how is it possible for them to actually detect that so-and-so is being trafficked?
Of course, first of all, what we are saying is that for anybody to go out for work, first of all, we must have a job contract, and that person must have been cleared by the Ministry of Labour. So if one reaches the airport and is going for work and doesn't have, first of all, is saying, I'm going to work to look for a job.
Yes.
That one we advise, no, don't go. First wait, you come and we guide you. So you should have gone through the licensed companies. Now there are 100 of them. And so we shall guide you, go to either of those companies, and if they have a job of your choice, use them. And then if you want to go as an individual, then go to the Ministry of Labour. Ministry of Labour will work with the embassies in the area the country where you are going, and confirm that where you are going, the company exists, and you are going in a safe way, and they will give you a clearance. So that's how we detect. If someone is going, that's how we detect. Right. Another way is someone may claim, because these criminals tell them to say they are going for visitation.
Exactly my point. Yeah. Most of them will actually say, I'm going to visit.
So we tell them, of course it is not very tight, but we tell them, if you are going for visitation, whom are you going to? You can interview, some bit of preliminary interview. Right. And most of these are innocent village girls, and so they will be naive, and they eventually not tell. So when we detect they are interviewed a bit, and we detect that they are going through a wrong way, so they are stopped and advised to go. Okay. We are even now working out with because most of them have been going out through Kenya. And because we've been, apart from sensitizing them that the border, when one is crossing the border, pass through the normal channel. Right. So those ones who are made to pass through panyas know that those ones are being trafficked, and they should report to the authorities. So we are sensitizing that. But also we are now working out with the Kenyan authorities so that they are intercepted even when they are in Kenya. And unfortunately, even many of them had been using forged exit points. Right. Because they know when they pass through the gazetted areas at Busia, Malaba, Ruakaka, they will be intercepted. So they use the panya routes to cross. And so there have been a racket where some traffickers have devised a system of using forged immigration stamps of exit and entry the other side. So some of them have been arrested there in Kenya, and when they are arrested, previously they were being treated as criminals because they are there illegally. Right. But now we are working out with the Kenyan authorities. When they arrest them, they treat them as victims and then hand them over to us. And we are now working out with Kenya to follow up the cliques, the criminal cliques in the two countries. So clearly it shows that this is a battle that can only be fought if also countries come together and collaborate. Yes, yes. It is very collaboration between countries of origin and transit, right, and then also destination. It's very important, and that's why even government of Uganda is working out with the destination areas, especially in the Middle East, to negotiate for bilateral labor agreements with those governments, so that we have a proper system whereby Ugandan is going to work in the Middle East should go through the normal licensed or recognized process. Right. And those ones who go outside that cannot be accepted there. So we are trying to work towards that. We have secured an agreement, bilateral agreement with Saudi Arabia. We have secured one with Jordan. And the relevant authorities, the Ministry of Gender and Labour and Social Development, plus Foreign Affairs, are negotiating with the other countries, Qatar, Oman, all those other countries, so that we have those bilateral agreements. Okay. So it is very important for the countries to collaborate. The source countries where the victims come from, the transit countries, and then the destination. We are also trying to engage our immediate neighbors, so that, you know, they can be able to detect and at least intercept any of our Ugandans who are going through those countries.
All right.
And we have first begun with Kenya. We've been having several meetings, and we will continue, and also use the East African community and the East African Police Cooperation Organization to make sure that we can be able to link up and work together.
So
to
it's
stop
still
the crime.
work in progress, especially for the other countries.
Oh yes.
Okay,
yeah.
all
yeah.
right. Let's talk about sexual exploitation and, you know, the sex trade, human trafficking for purposes of sexual exploitation. Let's bring it back here home, because we actually, as coming to work, we come very early in the morning, and on the roads we pass by very many, you know, prostitutes, they're called that, sex workers. What are you doing to ensure that that space is also looked into? Because as we were having this discussion before we went on air, most of these sex workers are actually not there out of choice. They're there because there's someone who has taken them there to earn a living for them. It's a racket, a human trafficking racket. So what are you doing to make sure that you bring to book such traffickers?
Yeah, the most important weapon is awareness. We want to make those girls who could be in that business through force, through deceit, to come out and report. And when they come out and report to the authorities, they will be helped, they will be rehabilitated. We've got systems using partners, the NGOs. They have got systems of rehabilitating them and empowering them with the proper skills so that they can live a decent life. So awareness is the first thing, and of course, once in a while, when we have been training our police officers, when they make some of those operations, we try to talk to the girls. But the problem, challenge with these crimes, that it takes time. You know, first of all, they brainwash them,
right?
And then it takes time for them to gain confidence in the authorities, so that they can be able to tell us the truth. One time we made a roundup of some massage area, parlors in Kampala here. We arrested over 50 Rwandese girls who had been brought in, and actually they were being used when one would go for service of massage, and then they would also, you would pay extra fee to be served sexually. And then we got the information that most of those girls, they don't do it willingly. But when we rounded them up, took them actually to the Ministry of to the Immigration Headquarters, we took a whole day trying to talk to them. They told us we are here on our own. We are here on our own, and so for us, we have nobody is forcing us.
But let me ask you,
So
even if they say that they're there on their own,
is
this trade legal?
Prostitution is no, it is immoral, but the laws against it are also not very clear, because it is illegal for someone to come out like on the street and pose yourself in a position which is attractive to others for sexual purposes. That is criminal. But now some of these issues now done inside the houses, where people go quietly and they are sold off, and it is not, it's a bit difficult to classify, but it is illegal. It's illegal if it is found that the person who is doing it is doing it through deceit, and through force. It can be handled that way. So sometimes we've been having a challenge of winning the proper confidence and understanding of the victims.
So after holding
we need to protect.
Yes, after holding these ladies from Rwanda who you got from this massage parlor, what after now they say that they're actually there out of choice, what exactly happened from there? What did you do?
No, we repatriated them back.
Okay.
Yeah, they were repatriated back because most of them were found with no documents. So they were repatriated back.
Wow.
We worked with the embassy and they were sent back.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes
to... But what I know is that in Uganda, there are some these people operating in restaurants, small restaurant, eating places, who bring some young girls from villages, and then they help them for serving, but at night they sell them to men.
Right.
And in most cases, through either deceit or forcefully. And in 2016, we arrested, there were five children. Actually, they were even below age, 14, 16, who were arrested at Busia, in Busia town, and the woman was charged in court and was even convicted. There was also a woman in Chisenyi who had got children from the streets, 6 of them, and she was selling them to men. She at first she pretended that she was going to assist them, because during the daytime she would give them some granules to go and sell, and at night she would sell them to men, and in a very humane way, because they were sleeping on deckers, and one man would be with a child, would be with a man on the lower decker, while another one is sleeping up there, and so until the LC of the area picked the information, and then they reported or the Kampala, and that lady was prosecuted.
Let me ask you, is the government deliberate on doing this crackdowns, especially in the city? Because I know residents know where these brothels are, and like you're telling me, most of the girls who are in these brothels are not there out of choice. They've been coerced to do that job. Are you deliberate about having such crackdowns? Because me and you know, I'm sure even when you drive past, town, either early morning or late at night, you can easily spot these places. Have you done such crackdowns? Are you deliberate on doing more of this just to apprehend the traffickers?
Oh yeah, what I wanted to correct the impression, not all prostitutes are victims of trafficking.
Yes, most of them are.
So yeah, but of course, prostitution is not good.
Right.
But at least the subject matter is on trafficking, and what we are doing is our just what I'm saying now. The NGOs, there are many NGOs who are working with the communities. Like in Kampala here, we have got Uganda Youth Development Link. It deals with the youth in the slum areas, and they have been talking to them. So there is deliberate, and then our police, the police community liaison officers, and the child and family protection officers, because they have been going in the field to talk to the communities. So we talk, and the first stage is making people aware, because some of them may not know, oh, I can be able to be assisted. So we've been making people aware, and I want to use even this very program to make people aware that those young ladies who are being coerced, who are being deceived, who are being tricked to do prostitution against their will, or through those tricks, let them report to the authorities. There are even those ones who are performing in the karaoke. They take them to perform, like they bring them from the villages, that they bring them to teach them music.
Yes.
And then they take them to learn dancing, and at night, late in the night, they are forced to sleep with men.
So now the
we are telling them
is just awareness.
Awareness.
No crackdown so far.
No, it is combined.
Okay.
No, there is intelligence.
All right.
Yeah. It goes together, awareness with intelligence. So when we are aware, of course, the police in various areas have been doing crack down on those areas, and they check.
Right.
They crack down on them. Yeah.
Okay. In the area of street children that you've seen actually being there just because they've been forced to be there, what can me and the person watching, today do in terms of helping out the government, fight human trafficking? What can we do as citizens of Uganda just to fight this vice? Yeah,
first of all, the issue of street children is also another controversial issue.
Right.
And when we've been discussing in our forum, as our coordination system, we've been saying not all children on the street are victims of trafficking.
Right.
But these are Ugandans who need to be assisted. It is true. But not all of them are victims of trafficking. Sometimes I want to talk on my docket of trafficking, so that, because street children is a wider concept. It is a wider issue. Some of those children are runaway children from certain homes who do not want who have become unruly. Yeah. Some of them are from unfortunate broken families, and they cannot or they cannot easily live together in their families. Some of them are orphans, whose parents, maybe both of them died, and they are neglected by the relatives. So there are so many causes of the street children. But at least there are those ones, especially from the Karamoja sub-region, who are brought because from the studies, they are handed over by their parents, because the parents think they can come here and earn a living, and then they send them some money.
Right.
So, or some food.
So it's a hard racket to fight.
So it is a hard thing.
Okay.
But we are working together. Actually, now there is a crackdown. In a two-way. One, we've been intercepting children living in Karamoja sub-region through the work of the police and NGOs in Karamoja and Teso sub-region. So last year alone, 11 suspects were prosecuted in Moroto. In Moroto, for attempt to traffic these children to outside the area.
Right.
And they were actually they were convicted and sentenced to ranging from 3 years to 2 years. So which was a big lesson. Okay. So there we are trying, and then also educating the communities in Karamoja to understand actually there are movies which have been shot from Kampala to show them how the hardship they are subjecting their children
so
to.
It's just a matter of awareness.
There is that awareness, yes.
Okay.
And then of course, in the course, if these children are got and they reveal information, then we are able to track down to the traffickers. Okay.
Now,
and prosecute them.
Now, as residents of Kampala living here, what can we do to ensure that this is fought? Do we continue, giving tips or food to these street children, or do we deny them so they can go back to their places? No. What would you advise as we come to a close?
No, what I would think is that since it has been discovered that some of the children are brought here deliberately to work for other people to get money through those fun illegal ways, we should discourage giving them anything on the street. We should discourage it, and if they are in the communities who need to be assisted, now that we have have our LC1 elections, and we've got the vice chairman responsible for children affairs, we can collect those needed children and assist them within that community, other than letting those to come on. So when we discourage giving out anything on the streets, then at least it will discourage the children from staying on the street, and now they can go back to the communities and be assisted. Those who are really needed, they can be assisted from the communities.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. Thank you so much for shedding light into this very, pertinent issue, human trafficking. Yeah. Thank you for being part of this discussion. Morning at 10 TV still continues. My name is Malaki Vilodera.